Welcome to Young People
Say.
This is a talk show for youths who come together to talk about issues which affect them as young people. Just to say to our viewers, as usual, we want you to know that whatever these young people will be saying is not necessarily their own individual views, but they are representing the views of young people. So we want them to be open, want them to be free, to be able to express. And today, we are happy here on Young People Say that we are welcoming the Foster triplets all the way from Jamaica to join us on Young People Say. Welcome, beautiful ladies.
Thank you so much.
So, our topic today, we are going to be talking about wolves in sheepskin. Strange topic indeed, but we want young people to be able to unpack it for us today, because you find that usually you hear young people talking about, I didn't see it coming. Huh? Is that familiar? I didn't see it coming. You know, he or she seemed, they looked like, they sounded like, they acted like they were very genuine. They really acted like they were very sincere. I didn't see it coming. And then later I realized that the person was just but a wolf in a sheepskin. So it got us to think about, if we have got young people who really get to a point where they are depressed, where they've got challenges within their own lives because of a behavior or a character of someone whom they valued, who ended up being the exact opposite of what they had put their faith and trust in. So I want to discuss on that. So I want to find out from you young people, you didn't see it coming, yeah? Are they wolves really? Are they wolves really out there who are in sheepskin? And if they are, why do you say so? Do you have experiences or encounters in your lives as young people with such people whom we can term wolves in sheepskin? Or do you want to define it for us? Your understanding, your feeling to it on this topic. I will start with mine.
Okay, I'm not going to define it, but I'm going to give an example of a young person whose school fees was paid by an uncle. These are relatives. And then when the child grew older, the uncle then said, because I was paying your school fees, I want you to have sex with me. That's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like they seem as if they're taking care of you. At the same time, it's like they're protecting you in quotes, but they have an ulterior motive.
Yeah. So on this topic, we're really looking at hypocrites, people that pretend to be what they are not. So it just so happens that even as she's saying that people will come and they show a face that is not what they are. What I've realized is that as youth, when we deal with people, everyone has an agenda. We always have to think, what is it that the next person wants? So even in a nice setting, you always have to wonder, is this genuine? So now in our generation, that's why you find that we are very skeptical. Because even when you look at the rape cases, it's the people that you trust. It's usually the family members that are raping people because we trust. So the idea is always to understand that everyone has an agenda.
All right. Malaika, I'm throwing a name here.
All right. We find that in the Bible, wolves in sheep's clothing, it's mentioned there. And this would refer to persons who, as he said, they're not true to who they really are. Hypocrisy. I found that at many times in my life, I've met various individuals. And at first, usually when you work with the Holy Spirit, he generally gives you this urge. Something is not right. But what I find is that from time to time, because of our own inclinations, we sometimes push that voice away. So sometimes when we're warned about the persons that come into our lives, we're so blinded, be it by love or friendship, that we are not willing to listen to what the Holy Spirit has to say.
So in essence, you are saying, Malaika, that sometimes it can be a friend. It can be someone whom you love, but they turn out to be something else. But I get what you're saying, that sometimes it comes in your subconscious that something is not wrong. But because of the love, because of the faith and trust, you ignore the niggling. Huh? Okay. Wolves in sheepskin.
I want to say that this issue is not only limited to our friendships and our family members. It even goes to the extent of people who pretend in the church, where you trust, a situation where you trust the deacon, the elder, the pastor, and you think that you are safe with them, and you think that the church is a safe space, only to realize that they are going to harass you later or they are going to abuse you.
It's getting hot. Yes.
Some of the roots go back to how we claim we are training our child in the way that they should go. You find your mom hits you so hard, and then visitors come through and she tells you to keep quiet, don't cry, and you have to put this face in front of the visitors. And that character, whilst yes, you are supposed to learn from your mistakes, but that child learns that there is a face you have to show in certain areas. So even when you're looking for a life partner, just because you want to get a certain person and you tend to hide, you learn the art of hiding who you are for the sake of benefiting from what you want.
So you're bringing another twist there to say what happens in earlier life. Maybe because of pretense or something, you are made to suppress your feelings and your emotions. It can come out later in life. Okay. You can write.
All right. Mine is quite an unpopular opinion. I think everyone is a wolf in sheep's clothing. From birth, maybe let me not say from birth, maybe from child's play, we all have an instinct of pretending, oh God, we all pretend to be doctors and the mother of the house. That instills an instinct of pretense. So even as we grow, with this tenet of thinking that for me to get what I want, I have to pretend. We can even talk about how we pretend in interviews. I can work under pressure. I'm like this. We pretend to get what we want. So in my own understanding, a wolf is someone who is predative, right? But they are trying to portray a nicer picture so that they hide their predative character. So everyone, let's not address this as people. I myself am also a wolf in sheep's clothing. Everyone is a wolf in sheep's clothing. We pretend to get what we want.
I like what you have said just now to say there is a predator, instinct behind some of the wolves that we're talking about. So I want to check from you as young people. Have you encountered this? Yes, he has talked about one instance about parents. She has talked about an uncle raping. We want to unpack that to see if it's something which is really affecting young people. The pretense, the predator that is behind a smile. Yeah.
I like to believe that is actually happening. They've given examples of like church setup, where the person whom you are thinking is your motherly figure at church is just there to get stories from you. You are pouring your heart to them, but you are thinking, this is my mother. Let me pour my heart to them. Whilst not knowing that she's just getting the juicy news to go and share with others. So I like the fact that she has mentioned that these are predators. They want to devour. So it doesn't just happen with mothers from the church, even the people that we term friends. You realize later on, but we're in a competition. I thought I was telling this person my issues. But then I know of a song where the guy actually says, we were friends. I actually gave you my address to my house, but look what you have done. So I'm thinking, she's my friend. I'm sharing everything with her as a friend, not knowing that she's getting gist and notes on how to compete with me.
It becomes touchy when mothers are involved in predatorship. You can give to her anything to say, then I'll come to you.
I think a lot of this facade of being a wolf in sheep's clothing, it comes from social media. A lot of things that we put out there, it's not real. We're going to post a nice fancy picture. Oh, I'm on a yacht, but there are 500 other people on the yacht with you. It's not a private yacht. And we post all of these things on social media, and we are forcing ourselves to equate with other people who are putting out fake stuff too. So we have to go out and we have to put out fake stuff too, because we have to fit in with the crowd. So social media really does play a big part in being a wolf in sheep's clothing. And as young people, what we have to do is stop following the norm and the trend and focusing on staying true to yourself and staying true to the God that you serve.
So it looks like we've got more ills which are coming out of social media. The character, the facade of being a good person. You know, we are closing some ulterior motives which are very negative and harmful to the next person because we are learning it from social media. We are copying some, copycats from social media. Your hand was up.
Okay, I'll say from the sister side, I'll just represent them on this one. It also happened that my friends or people of my gender, we come and approach these ladies pretending as if we are into them more of the relationship, but we have an agenda just to say, when I sleep with her, I'm done. And I then move on. So, yeah.
So some of it is planned, is really planned, okay?
Yeah, so the other issue is the sense of belonging. We tend to do things because we lack belonging. So just like even the social media, because we want to fit in, we then end up doing things. And that thing at the end makes you a victim or makes you the one who's looking for prey. So what we have realized is that some of the problems also as youth, we are creating them ourselves because we want to belong. Then the next issue really is that we are an age that is now going to work, looking for work. So because we want something for ourselves, we want to make a name for ourselves, we find ourselves being victims, more so our sisters, because they want to look for a job. And you know that your qualification alone is not enough because there are 5 more people that are equally qualified or even better. So as much as I'm not saying that the person who then ends up sleeping with you or whatever it is, that person is wrong. But we also have to appreciate that we also play a role in what then they end up doing to us. Because for us to then just play victim after they have asked you and you say yes because you want a job. So really then who's the wolf if both of you have done something wrong?
Okay, I think we are in agreement with what she had said. That sometimes your conscience tells you that this is wrong. Something tells you that there's something that is fishy here, but maybe because you also want something, you want to benefit something. You want a job, you end up getting into it, but at the end then, I don't want to say you cry victim, but you become a what? A victim. You're smiling. Wolves in sheepskin. Then I come to you. Yeah? Do you have any encounters that you would want to mention or to share with us? Examples of wolves in sheepskin.
Yes. From childhood, my parents stressed the importance of finding good friends and working with the Holy Spirit in building friendships, and not building shallow friendships or friendships just because we have something in common, but building friendship based on values. And I have found that through the years, building friendship based on values and working with the Holy Spirit has helped me to build a small circle of friends that I believe God has picked for me and they are trustworthy. And I think also understanding the difference between acquaintances and friends has played a very major role in staying away from wolves in sheep's clothing. Because when you understand those who are on your outer circle, those who are on your inner circle, you understand who to open up to. Now, I'm not saying that you'll never ever face a situation with someone who is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's at some point in life it's going to happen. Maybe with someone you're not close to, and maybe with someone you're close to. But I have found that maintaining this has really protected me so far, and I hope not to have that experience in the future.
Interesting. She's talking about whom do you open up to. It's about whom do you trust. Can a friend really stab you in the back? Paida?
To answer you directly, yes. A friend can stab you in the back. They can be a friend at an instance, but do you know how it is when you feel jealousy? So they are a friend, yes, but then they are feeding on their jealousy. At the end, they'll stab you in the back. I wanted to add to what Munashe mentioned. He mentioned that the guys are pretending. I want to tell the guys also that the girls also pretend. They are calculative. Remember, they're predators. They are calculative. Just because the person wants to get married to you, they calculate that you like girls who wear long skirts. They are going to wear the longest skirts for you to notice them. They realize that you are into healthy reform. You don't eat meat. I know of a person who got married to someone who pretended to be a vegetarian, vegan, whatnot. They got married. After marriage, they then said, it's the pregnancy which is forcing me to eat meat. Then after the pregnancy, they continued eating their meat. So girls actually do pretend. They are wolves, even.
My next question to you is, how are these encounters affecting you as how do they affect a young person? The encounters with wolves in sheep's clothing.
So a lot of people then tend to go into the burnout, because just like the quote that says, if you want to be liked by everyone, sell ice cream. You in a church setting, you want to be the deacon, you want to preach, you want to help out there, and instead of focusing on who you are and your strengths, you want to be everywhere because you want to be liked, maybe because the person who's in charge has got a potential of giving you a job. And when you don't get it, you are more depressed and you're more disappointed than everyone else. Rather than staying in your lane and being your individual character, you are trying to be everything and anyone because you're desperate.
Desperation to fit, yes.
Eventually, it can create this innate need to distrust everybody, even those with good intentions. When they come to you, the first thing you're going to think is, how is this person going to hurt me? And so the good persons, the good people that come into your life, sometimes you can find that the defense mechanism is to hurt that person before they hurt you. So the psychological aspect is that you end up becoming the person that hurts to avoid being hurt instead. So in the wake of these actions, there can be other persons who are affected by you because now you've become the wolf in sheep's clothing.
I was reading something where there's a young woman, to a point, who was raped by someone close, and now they're saying, I don't have feelings for men anymore. When I look at all men, I see wolves in them. I don't trust men anymore. I'm now trusting women. And she is a what? A woman. So you see, that's a good point there. Effects, your hand was up, they not out.
Right. In most cases now, especially for ladies, young ladies like me, we have lost respect for older men. I'm speaking of a situation where I have an older man who has pretended maybe to want to help me as a father. They might even introduce me to their wife. They might also even try to make me part of their family. Even their children are like, and then in the end, this man maybe wants to feed on me. I'm talking about a man, a father, someone I've been calling my father. They now want to have a sexual relationship with me. So in the end, each time I'm seeing a man maybe who's old enough to be my father, I'm seeing that man who's wanting to help and has got a mind of feeding on me later on. So you also find that we have young people who have no respect for older people. And you might also realize that we are in an era where you are maybe reflecting back on the days when you grew up, Chiti, maybe those young people used to stand up for us in the buses. They used to help us when I'm carrying something heavy. They used to be so respectful. We can't give you that place of respect anymore.
Serious?
I think it also comes in as negative motivation. You'll be pushed, if channeled in the right way, you'll be pushed towards your creator. I missed the part in the Bible which says that trust in men. The Bible clearly says that we should put all our trust in God. So if you're betrayed by men, you then realize that men is nothing. You need to put your trust in God.
Good point.
I wanted to comment that generally when you lose trust in the people that you trust and you have confidence in, the general view of a Christian, from a Christian perspective, you confide into elders, you confide to the spiritual parents. But when they are no longer trustworthy now, it becomes a problem. That's why you're going to realize that according to the statistics even of our church, you're going to see that there is a downward spiral of young people leaving the church. They are leaving each and every time. Why? Because they have lost trust in men. And more so, to make matters worse, they have lost trust even in God. Why? Because God has placed us in our different responsibilities within the church. Imagine if I confide into a pastor, whom I will lose later on confidence in. I will eventually lose trust in God.
It's getting hot. Please don't go away. We will be right back. Welcome back to Young People.
Say.
We're talking about wolves in sheepskin, sheep's clothing. And young people, we are really hot when they are talking about they are losing faith and trust in adults, especially in the church and also in the home, because of our character, our conduct as adults, where we pretend to be what we are not, and in the end harm the well-being, become actually detrimental to the well-being of young people. So we want to welcome parents who are not parents. We've got professionals who are coming on set. We've got Dr. Majanga. Welcome, Dr. Majanga. And we've got Mrs. Mbuse. She is going to be also helping us from a psychological point of view on this issue of wolves in sheepskin. Before we give you, Paida wanted to say something before for them quickly.
Yes, I wanted to talk about the effects that this has on us. You get to a point where you realize that this one pretended and got something. This one pretended, got married. This one pretended, got a job. This one pretended, got a church leadership position. So why not pretend also to get it?
It's getting much. Over to you, our professionals. Your question, I think you also answered that one, is you're answering the questions. From a psychological standpoint, we want to understand from you what drives an individual to project a false persona.
Oh, thank you so much, Tete Makole, and thank you for having me here once again. Okay, from a psychological point of view, I think someone may actually feel insecure in their abilities. They may not think they're worthy or good enough, or it could actually be a misguided thinking that they're not good enough to present who they really are to their friends or to the world. So they bring out this persona to try to fit in and cover up their own insecurities, which is actually quite sad because keyword being misguided, it is a misguided concept because really everyone, each and every one of us is special and no one can be who you are.
I think whilst growing up, many of us develop an image of who we are by how we're received by our parents or received by our community. And based on their feedback, we learn to drop this attitude and pick up this one. And maybe there's some things that are innate in us. If the response is constantly negative or it's negative criticism, we may learn that, like she said, okay, that part of me is not good enough, and have a fear of, showing that. So instead, for acceptance, whether it's from the parents or from the society, you portray that which you see is liked or accepted by your parents, by those around you, even that's not naturally who you are, just for acceptance.
And are there cases where individuals might not even be aware of their hypocrisy? Are there cases where one is not really aware that I'm acting out? This is hypocrisy.
I'm not sure you can pretend and then not be aware that you're pretending. I think what may happen is you can not have insight that you've developed habits in order to please someone that's not true to who you are. Maybe. But I think if you're going to be pretentious, pretending is an active choice. It's intentional. So once you're pretending, I do believe you are aware. But what can happen is you may develop mechanisms that you're not aware of. In order to, for example, if you're someone who has low self-esteem, you may pretend to have certain strengths in order to prove to others that I'm good enough, right? And you don't have enough insight to realize that the reason you're doing that is because you actually have low self-esteem.
Youths, any questions for our professionals?
I wanted to ask, is it wrong for me to have, should I say multiple personalities? Like I have a personality for church, for me to fit in, another at home to fit in, and another for my friends to fit in. Is that being a wolf in sheep's clothing, or just me getting comfortable in different spaces?
Okay, Paida, there is a thing called the self-concept, and just so many different selves in so many different settings. You cannot be the same person in each and every setting. So it is very normal for you to present a certain persona when you're with your friends, a certain persona when you're at home, and a certain persona again when you're at church. There is nothing wrong with that. The only thing now is if you change your personality or if you change who you are to try to deceive someone, now that is immoral and that is wrong.
Yes.
To our professionals, to what extent does trauma contribute to us changing to be these predators in going after people?
Okay, I think like we said right at the beginning that when you're trying to be when you are being a sheep, a wolf in sheep's clothing, it's intentional. Trauma is nothing that you can change. It's something that unfortunately happened to you. And when you have a defense mechanism, maybe, to deal with that trauma, that has nothing to do with you because that has nothing to do with being a wolf in sheep's clothing because that is not intentional. So trauma and being a sheep a wolf in sheep's clothing could be two totally different things.
Another question is?
Yes. Is there a way of opening up to our parents on our true characters? Because clearly parents have failed to accept the changes and to catch up. Is there a way? Because most of the time you then find out that I'm actually naughty when my girlfriend is pregnant. Or you then find out when I'm home wounded or in a hospital because I was at the bar drinking. Right? Is there a way that you can advise children to open up to their parents without being necessarily rejected and cast out from the home?
Anyone, if you can take it.
I think that comes back to the parents more than it does to the children. The child has no control over whether or not the parent will reject them or chastise them for whatever they've opened up about. So it's a type of work that has to happen between the parent and the child. So it's more a response. My answer would be to the parents to say, all parents know that we're not perfect, right? And they too were young. I think the misconception, like I'll speak about myself, maybe growing up you see your parents as, they're angels. It's like, yeah, they never did anything wrong and they hold you to such a high standard and you need to meet that standard or else you'll disappoint them. So I think it's the onus is on the parents to show your child when it's appropriate, when they're at an appropriate age, you can show them your vulnerabilities as a parent, and then encourage them, help them to feel that it's a safe space to open up, because at the end of the day, no one is perfect. A lot of people feel pressure to pretend because there's a standard of perfection, but it's not true. So as long as the child feels that it's a safe space, I'm sure they'll open up.
So it's about creating safe spaces, whether it's in the home or even in the church setting, that no one is perfect. We are all striving to do good that can help. There was another hand. Okay. And then I'll come to you.
All right. My question to you is that, is there anything wrong with me pretending in order for me to get something good? When we're talking about me pretending to be good so that I get married, we're talking about me dressing well in order for me to get a job, maybe at a lovely religious organization. Is there anything wrong with that? We're talking about a situation where my attitude or my personality can totally take a shift from that pretense. Are we not only focusing on the side where we are victims of maybe fallen prey to these predators, when I am the one benefiting? Is there anything wrong with that?
I think your question is almost the same as the one Paila asked about. I can be good so that I can be able to get the next thing. I'll make you answer after his question so that you can just read it.
I wanted to ask that what maybe is probably the coping mechanism on the decoder's end or the prey's end, provided now that the predator is part and parcel of the family. You can't run away. You have to stay inside. So what do you do so that you strike a balance between maintaining the relationships that are there, yet also you are the prey in this case?
I will take the question on pretending. When you pretend in order to deceive someone, it is already immoral, and you're not presenting your true self to whoever it is that you are presenting to, and that is also unfair on their part, because eventually your true self is going to come out, and that true self is not the person that the one you deceived wanted to see.
So in essence, you are saying there can be a positive predator and a negative predator. It's all pretense and it's not good. Okay?
To speak on the psychological aspect of pretense, one should ask themselves, right? Why do you feel the need to pretend to be that thing in the first place? Okay? If you have assessed a situation and seen that to have these attributes will bring me these certain desired results, why not do the self-work rather than pretend? Okay, it takes a lot of energy to pretend to be something you're not. And it equally takes a lot of energy to cultivate positive, good habits. So I would advise you, from a psychological point of view, it's better to work on yourself and to cultivate those habits and to actually become those desired things rather than to pretend. And so I would take this opportunity to advise adults to be cautious and, observe your environment. Maybe I think some people don't know what to look out for. If you have a child who is suddenly having anxiety around a person, they don't want to be in their space, they're not telling you why, but they're avoiding that person, or you've seen change in their behavior, you have to try to find out from the child over and over and over again, because they might not be forthcoming the first time. So I think the parents have to be observant. That's the first thing. And the child has to be able to speak up, but that rarely ever happens. So it's a difficult situation. I just would advise that parents try to deal with it with wisdom, and ultimately the predator has to be removed from the household.
We are on young people.
Say,
please don't go away. We will be right back. Welcome to young people.
Say,
we are talking about wolves in sheep skin, wolves in sheep's clothing, and we are happy to welcome Pastor Manyepa. Welcome.
Thank you, Tata.
And Gogo Manyeruke, our granny, welcome to Young People Say. We are talking about wolves in sheepskin. Young people are not happy about what is happening in their lives, especially where adults are concerned, where they are believing that, or they have good experiences of people who pretend to be who they are not, but in the end harming them as young people. And so that's why we're having this topic of wolves in sheepskin. So I want to find out from you. Maybe I'll start with Gogo Manyeri. Can a parent teach a child to identify wolves in sheep's clothing? It's something that a parent can teach or can educate their children about.
Yes, a parent can teach the child to identify the wolf in the home or at church. Because when you are talking about wolves and sheep, there must be a shepherd who gives an account of what has happened to the sheep, and who cares, who watches and fights the wolf. So a parent from the young age of the child, particularly the mother, should teach the child what to look for, and should allow the child to discuss with the mother whatever happens in life, so that the mother can identify and help. You see, you can tell children, no one should touch you here, no one should tell you these words. So these are flags. They are the red flags to tell whether there is an abuser or there's a wolf. You remember wolves usually deal with people who have gone out of the kraal or out of the shelter. They can roll around to see who is intimidated and tries to come out and grab that particular person. So it is true that we as parents, we should teach our children this. Like we tell them, don't touch the fire, you burn. You burn.
Can you give us, maybe from our own experiences, Gogo, can you give us from experiences lessons probably, or something that is tangible which you can share with young people at this age? They are not children anymore. They are grown up, they are young adults. What can you tell them, or what hints can you give them from your experiences to look out for? How can they identify wolves? What form are they coming in?
These girls whom I'm looking at now, and boys, you teach them, you tell them direct. You don't beat about the bush, because they are there to understand. You can discuss with them, whether it's the girl, to say whether we've got a relative who comes here, who should pretend to be a brother-in-law. You know, in our culture, a brother-in-law, there are some issues they temper around with their sisters-in-law, which is an abuse, which is in God's eyes, it's a sin.
So you're talking about Shiramu
Yes.
from your own experiences?
Yes, because in our tradition it was considered as normal, as it's okay. Even if your child will say, this brother-in-law was doing 1, 2, 3, no, it's just plain. It's nothing, but it's something, because when they abuse them, especially sexually, you can't tell them it's okay, and they can come up. Actually, somebody said to me, you say so because you are not the one abused.
Thank you, God.
So that is a typical, the extreme. And even the boys, you got the uncle who comes in, if they abuse them, and they tell you, I think this is the time where you stand up and take action. You don't bury under the carpet to say it's a relative, it's a father. There's no use saying because you will be sent to jail, we won't have food. But we are damaging this one's life.
Thank you.
We have to take action.
Take action. Pastor Manyeba, how does wolves in sheepskin manifest in the church?
Yeah, this is very deep and very powerful. Remember, Jesus always reiterated this idea, and it was more of a warning to the church in every aspect of life, not just the church life. I hear people talking about abuses in the home, and remember, once a victim, you become the perpetrator. Yeah, so it becomes a vicious cycle. Many, like my sister here has reiterated, has alluded to, that, I may be the predator. And sometimes it's good to know that you're a predator. Yeah, it's good to know your position so that you repent. But I wanted to also say, to also add on one.
Please don't run away from my question. How does that manifest in the church?
Okay,
wolves
yes.
in sheepskin, because young people, I have got examples which they were giving that they are not feeling safe. They are now leaving the church because there are wolves in the church. So that's the question that I'm asking you, Pastor. Can you get to that question? Wolves in sheepskin in the church.
Indeed.
Yeah.
We have sexual predators in the church, and they come in various forms. We have also, pastors who are pedophiles. We have homosexuals, but they are not, open. Yeah, we have rapists, but not in the open. We have so many people in church. Actually, a church is a place where people with weaknesses are. So maybe let me say, what we are talking about a sin problem. So we have sinners in church. When we come to church, that's why Jesus warned us. I wanted to come this way to your question. That, Jesus gave us this warning so that we don't become weak in church. We are careful with everybody. You don't just look at a pastor and accept a pastor as a pastor. I'm a pastor, but I'm a human being first before being a pastor. I've got a history before I'm a pastor here. I have weaknesses to conquer before the title of pastor. Paul even says, I haven't yet gotten hold of it. I'm thriving. You see, meaning he was also human. So there is a point that, we as church members have to stop, idolizing people, making other people like gods, making people like they never sin. So we have pastors, if we're not careful, we have elders who take advantage of people, who take advantage of their status in church. So this is very real. We have also people who have been, who have gone through so many journeys in life.
Traumatic
experiences, exactly. When they see money, they want it. Yes, despite that they've been baptized several times because of that.
Over to you, young people. Questions. Women must start with. I love the hands. Okay, I'll start with Maida. Quickly. Let's do quick questions.
My question is, I'm in church. I'm being my brother's keeper. I greet an elder. He scratches my hand. Or I'm talking to an elder. He starts flirting with me. In order to help him, do I clap him there and there? Or do I post his nonsense in the church platform for everyone to pray for him? How do I handle that?
Pastor, you take that one. Another question?
So, it also goes to Pastor, even though Go can answer. Power. Sometimes we tend to forget that power is the reason why we're having people going after people. Whereby when we're normal people, when we're at the same level, we tend to work with people in the normal way. But now that you're the pastor, you're on top of everyone goes there and you want so much power. Don't you think too much power is also a reason for that abuse?
Powerful. Let me start by your question while I'm thinking of an answer. Right. You see, that's the conundrum that we have in the church. We, as pastors also, we have powerful elders, we have powerful church members who also abuse pastors, right? And it's also maybe vice versa. That's why the warning came to the church that as sheep, be very careful of wolves, right? So definitely, wolves don't have teeth, they don't bite. Wolves don't have defense mechanism. What they can only do is to cry. But wolves, they've got everything. Sheep. Yeah. Sheep don't have defense mechanism. But wolves are there to attack. You know, when wolves are matched with sheep, it's a done deal. The wolf is already on top. So whoever is on top of any status is the wolf. So you should be very careful of wolf tendencies. That's about power. And what did you say?
The elder is thinking in my head.
Yes.
Should I put it on the church group so that we can pray for him?
You know, Jesus gave us a counsel that we don't expose. I think it's good that you don't do it publicly, or you may find, if you try yourself, maybe to say, you know, we are going into enchanted waters with this trifling, it must stop. And if that person persists, then you can go maybe to the pastor or to another elder for help. If that doesn't work, then it now needs to go public. That is the counsel that we've been given. We don't just start by going public. It may end up coming back to you.
Good answer. In the interest of time, they're already saying our time is up. I'll give you quickly, in less than a minute, is that a comment or it's a question? It's a comment. Good. I'll give you to comment quickly.
All right. The church is like a hospital and not all patients are responding to the medication.
Powerful. We are on young people.
Say.
We're talking about wolves in sheepskin. And you've heard the views of young people. They want to stay in the church. They want to be safe in the church. They want to be safe in our homes. And they want to be safe in the society. And the counsel from the pastor, not everyone who says I'm a Christian are Christians. We need also to be able to stand up on our own and know what is right and cry out when we need help and go out to seek for help and not nature or let evil prevail in our lives. We are going to come back with more episodes here on Young People Say. We are promising you more topics. We are promising to answer your questions. We bring them on regarding the topic that we're discussing today or any of the topics that we discussed before, because we have some one session where we'll be answering your questions. So till next time, yours truly, Tite Makoe. Bye-bye.
Besemo banonzora uranyi sokora kanaka murese pasi kuti vanu vese ngarinzveri uyo unoda tumasoko pagomonemikana baba wanikanwa ari kudaidza uyo unoda uyo unouya nasi uya pinda pamusiwo wazarurirwa Jesu ndiye nzira yeidiyega uyo unoda tumasoko pagomonemikana baba wadikanwa ari kudaidza uyo unoda uyo unoda dawira ini uyo wirange iswi uyo unoda upenyu darini uyo unoda uyo unoda tumasoko pago monemikana baba odikano arikudaitsa uyo unoda uyo unoda tumasoko pago monemikana baba odikano arikudaitsa uyo unoda baba odikano arikudaitsa